guys, and welcome back to The Breakdown. As you can tell, we've changed things up here with our background, and we've also decided to break the silence and join in on a conversation this week. What do you think, Daniel?
Yes, this week, of course, we've all been watching the news about George Floyd. It saddens our heart, but it brings us to our social media point of this week in Matthew 16:18. Jesus says, "I will build my church, and the powers of hell will not avail against it." And I think that's really powerful today. And, we was in meetings this week. We always plan here at Light Springs Church to how we're going to lay out things. And Pastor Dale brought this up, and this is a conversation that we needed to have. So I'm glad you're here, Pastor Dale, that we can talk about this and let our church people know and let the public know that we serve. This is how we feel about the situation.
Right. Well, I wanted to be here mainly because I felt like y'all needed some eye candy on the show.
Oh, shut your mouth
and
now.
I felt like that. True. I felt like I could bring a spice to this. No, as we watched the details unfold about George Floyd, it just really rattled me at the beginning of the week. And I think we probably ought to go on and say this is being recorded on Friday, May the 29th. And so I don't know, it's unfolding a lot. And so at this point where we are, earlier in the week when I watched what seemed to be just a horrible, a man's life taken from him like somebody puts out a cigarette butt almost, it felt like. And it just moved me to tears, and that rarely happens. And I have a lot, of opinions about this whole thing. And so I just wanted to let's have a discussion and lead our church there, because one of the things about Light Springs, one of our core values is we want to be a church where the Wal-Mart church, everybody can come, and that's like one of the things that we say all the time. And I wanted a part of our church family, my friend Ashley here, to come and be a part of this because I thought he could add a lot to the discussion. Not only because I was 19 years of law enforcement, right? And and he and his wife were part of Light Springs. And the interesting thing about his wife is her name is
Ashley.
Ashley.
Ashley and Ashley.
You had to keep it simple so you didn't forget, right?
but actually, there's other parts of it. Is that she's actually white, and I don't know if you know this or not, but you're not white. I don't know. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
Spoiler alert.
So given, obviously being an African American, given that you're married to a white lady, given you've been in law enforcement for 19 years, and I just felt like as a voice in our church family, I would like to have you a part of this discussion to let's just talk about like where we are and what's transpiring and what the solution to be. So really what I want is for Light Springs Church to be a part of the conversation, but more importantly, what I really want is just to be a part of the solution. This is absolutely crazy what we're seeing happening on so many levels. I don't even know where to peel the onion.
It's like, why are we still here in 2020? Why are we still talking about this in 20? Why are we still dealing with this in 2020?
And it seems like as you look, 2020 has got so much in it. You're already dealing with COVID-19.
Right.
And then you have, after being phase one and coming out in the public, we dealing with this right here.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that, the enemy is busy.
Right.
He's definitely busy. But to see this, it has caused a lot of emotions. I ain't gonna lie to you. I felt some type of way. And I start to get mad even at people, my friends, because it's like nobody has any sensitivity of what's going on as a black person. You know what I'm saying? And so that kind of made me feel a way.
Right.
But it's just because of where we've been and where we come from.
Right. Well, and I get what you're saying. Not saying I don't understand all the feelings, but I get what you're saying about the whole dynamic. But it does seem like about this 2020 and that's what I'm talking about. I get what you're saying about the COVID, and it seems like we got all these things. But have you noticed that it seems like this just keeps cycling back around?
Yeah.
It's like we can't, especially when it comes, and it becomes so political, and it stops being about the real issues, and somehow it just becomes this crazy. So I want to start right here. One of the things I want to do before we continue on with the discussion, and I think, and I'm not trying to hijack the show here, but I just want to go on record and say I don't think like this is the role model of what we would think that most law enforcement agencies would want. I don't even think that's what most police officers would want. And I just want to say, I don't think we want to say this up front, I don't think, and you correct me, I don't think all police officers are racist and everybody's crooked and everybody's hypocritical. And I don't think that's like the spirit, even though we do see that what happened is absolutely wrong. I don't want to anything else to say to be in any way derogatory about our law enforcement officers.
Absolutely. And, there's there are bad in everything that we see, everything that we do. There are ones that are bad, but the good ones are upset at the bad ones whenever they see wrong occur.
Yeah.
So you're 100% correct. You know, your heart's got to be in the right place. It's got to be in the right place to do the job. And
Wrong is wrong, period. And I'm sure you probably see wrong in law enforcement and out of law enforcement.
Yeah.
I mean, you probably feel racism in law enforcement and out of law enforcement.
you know, and as you introduce, sure, my wife is white. I have 2 kids. Both kids are biracial, obviously. And it's kind of one of those things that we deal with on a day-to-day basis. Me and my wife actually look through 2 different lenses. You know, she's never had to live the life that I live. I've never had to live the life that she lives. So we help each other adjust day by day to the different things that we see to best raise our kids to do the right thing and understand you love everyone. Love everyone. And you're supposed to love thy neighbor as thyself. And, you know, the scripture tells us that. So race should not be an issue. You shouldn't look, God created us all equal. He created each and every one of us equal. That's the way that we should live our life, and that's the way that we should raise our kids, is to love everyone. Not look at one specific race as superior to the other race, or look at one individual as superior to another individual. We're all equal.
Right.
But then you go down I like when you brought the point of looking through 2 different lenses. That's a major point right there. Because a lot of people, when you get on Facebook, let's get it wrong. Social media by itself is dangerous. Because it's doing more damage than it's doing the helping. Because it's always taking us, it's wanting you to hate this person or see a narrative against this person. That's how it is back and forth. But people don't understand that my life is different than Jen's life. I was raised different than Jen. The people look at me different than they look at Jen, and that's just how it is. And we still judging a book by its cover.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You know, and I think a lot of this, and you guys can agree or disagree, and it's probably better if we don't all agree on everything, because it may make a great night. I'm just kidding. We don't want to get a debate going here, an argument. But the news outlet, I gotta believe, fans a lot of this. Like, I think that it stopped being about what it started. I mean, I'm telling you, if you haven't watched, and I don't even want to, I don't know. There's a side of me that says if you haven't watched the whole 10-minute video, watch it. But I'm gonna tell you something, it will disturb you. And so I don't even know if I want to tell you to watch it. It is horrible. It is absolutely horrible. But somehow it is like now on Friday, it stopped being about George Floyd and his family and this officer who obviously had some heart issues, and I think, I don't know if anybody agrees with that, but obviously has some heart issues, whether it be racism or whether it be just angry white man or whether his daddy beat him. I don't know. I don't even know the man. I wouldn't want to dare say what his issues, but there was something wrong there. Something went haywire. Yeah. But now it has become this political debacle, and it's like the media has created this scenario. And the response to it, where we're burning down targets and we're sieging police stations, and I guess I'm not understanding how this is helping the discussion.
I think everybody wants justice. That's what everybody wants. The black guy, the white girl, the Hispanic boy, they all want justice. Everybody thinks it's wrong. You can't watch the video and not think it's wrong. I think hate drives hate. That's not getting you anywhere. You know, the riots and that's not getting us anywhere. What is it that we need to do to change it? Because that's not it.
So I totally agree with a riot. But let me just, let me
agree with the riot?
I totally don't agree.
Oh, okay.
But let me share something.
I'm about to get you to do something right here. I needed some help.
But let me share this with you. If you look at, of course, I've been following the story pretty good, and the officer had already killed 2 other people. And so right there, it says he's already got away with 2 murders already, and y'all ain't did nothing about it. So anytime something has not been done to somebody, our first thing to do is to act out.
Oh, yeah.
Now, mind you this, I do believe that there's some selfish people in this whole situation. It ain't because I believe that Floyd's family is not being seen, it's not being brought out, or that's because it's kind of, he's like the platform, and they're using him as the situation, but they're getting their own agendas across.
Right.
And so I do want to say that because you have some people that don't even belong in Minnesota is there acting crazy. But my thing is this right here is that you have to understand that after a person has done something so much, it's like, I don't even care no more, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna do it. And you shouldn't be like that, because then you about having the same heart as a person with another bad heart. Because why would you want to tear down your own city? You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
And I would like to hear, obviously, from you two guys. I want to understand, like what you're saying. I want to understand, and I don't know. I genuinely want to, and I am a very outspoken person that I believe racism is wrong. I mean, I think you guys, hopefully I've said that. I believe I want to lead a church that way. But I'm struggling to understand that level of emotion, because like even still, and I'm going to state the obvious, so please don't send me hate mail or anything. But like, and I don't know if there are more whites killed with police confrontations and fatalities every year for years now, than there are African Americans or any other minority beyond that. And so I don't understand, but yet we don't know any of their names. And I'm sure, I would think that there's probably some police officers that have done similar things to a white person. But it didn't get the publicity. I don't understand, but I get what you're saying. There's this root or something that's driving this. And I want to understand that, because I don't know what we got to do to, like, let's move past and let's deal with the issue. And I don't know that we're not complicating it, is my point. I think that what we're doing with burning cities down and the way we're responding, so I would just like to hear, whichever one of you want to go first, like to respond to that. Like, help me understand that.
The rioting and the looting is not the answer. It's not the key. It's not the answer. It's where, sure, there's a lot of emotions that are going on, but the people need to come together. When they come together, they need to present it to the authorities. They need to go through the proper channels to get the situation handled and taken care of appropriately. There are a lot of feelings, and as I said in the beginning, we definitely see situations through two different lenses, but our heart's in the same place, that there should not be the divide. I do truthfully believe the church, and most definitely God, is the answer and the solution to every issue that's going on right now. I do believe that the media hypes situations up and causes divide, because when you look at media, I've not found a media outlet out there that is not biased one way or the other.
Oh, yeah.
It's fair and unbiased.
Yeah, that you can just sit down.
But they all tell you they are.
They do. You can't never just sit down and just watch something and kind of piece it together and figure out, well, this is the truth that really happened. It's one extreme or the other extreme, which is an issue, which is keeping, I believe, these situations fueled. And people are spending more time in front of the TV watching this media than they are in the sanctuary.
Right.
Or time with God.
Yeah.
And you're preaching to the choir. Jesus is the only answer, that's for sure. But do you understand, do you understand that level of emotion and where it's going from that's created it?
A boy and a girl, both biracial. It could happen in my family at any point in time. Absolutely. I get it. But the thing that I've got to do right now is start training my kids and make sure that they understand you love everyone.
Right.
You love even your enemy. You love everyone.
Right.
I want to tag this to it right here, and I always tell stories and giving you examples. If everybody knows here, me, you here at Light Springs Church, if they come here, they're gonna see PD, the black PD or the white PD, one of them.
Right. We're twins. We're twins.
But if we was to leave here and go somewhere else, and we both have an open carry, a gun on our waist, and nobody don't know us from nothing, they would look at me differently than they look at you. They would judge it like he's going to shoot at the place. Because people are judging, oh, they looking at what another black person done and thinking they got to do, that's how all black people are. And that's even when getting pulled over by the police, with police even getting pulled over, sometimes police officers or whoever have their heart is, oh, he just like the rest of them. And people put us in one basket, you know what I'm saying? Just like white puts one in one basket, or we put everybody in another basket, but God made us all individual.
Right.
We all get to know. So, and the way you raised Josiah, I can't raise Tyler the same way. Because Tyler can't take a toy gun to school and get away with it like Josiah can. Because
I don't know if he can take it to school, but anyway, I got you.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
I just want to go on record. Don't do that. All right? Don't nobody do that.
But the fact of the matter is, the system's gonna look at them different and gonna judge them different.
Right.
So so it goes back to, I'm just gonna be real with you, and I know I'm gonna get flack from it goes back to government. How it's being judged, because if you look at how a white man murders somebody, they'll get different time than a man just selling drugs. You look at the whole situation, and so that's the thing. That's what needs to be unpacked, because this thing is deeper. Racism, what we say, racism is just a symptom, but it's not the disease.
No, the disease is the heart.
It's the heart.
It's sin.
It's
That's
sin.
the heart.
This is just a symptom.
Right.
And so a lot of people have that symptom. And I've been racial profiled. I've treated that way. You know what I'm saying? So when people say, oh, this is, and people had no sensitivity to it, it make you feel like, well, you wouldn't even understand anyway.
So I got two questions. I want to, I don't want to, but like one thing about what you just said, and I'm curious. First of all, I'm gonna ask one of them. But do you agree with what Daniel just said? Like if he and I were to go into, I'm gonna say Wal-Mart, open carry. I don't know if you can open carry anymore in Walmart, but some store where you can open carry, it's still allowed online. Is it perceived differently for a white man versus a black man?
You do see it perceived differently.
It is, as far as for society, from what you've experienced, and okay, I think that's like an eye-opening, like that should be discussed, And honestly, as I'm sitting here, I don't know if I've ever seen a black man, and maybe I have and just didn't pay attention to it, open carry.
He's scared. He's scared because if he hits that hand on his gun or whatever, he's gonna automatically get shot because they're gonna assume that he's gonna do something bad.
I've never even thought of that.
We're
but
afraid.
I've seen a lot of white people open carry. I've seen a lot of.
And so that's the reason why. And people look at when we get stopped. And I heard Ashley. My mom always say, "Hey, stay alive another day to get home."
Absolutely.
Jen, you wouldn't have to tell your son that.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, we had a conversation the other day where you said something about Tyler with the plastic gun, and I'm like, I don't know that that's ever even crossed my mind to say to my child. Or, obviously we teach our kids to submit to authority. If a cop, you comply. That's what you do. But I would never say, Talon, you need to comply because you need to make it home and to tell your story. Like, that hurts my heart because and that's where it comes from. It comes from home. It comes from us being different, teaching love, not teaching hate. Racism is taught.
Yeah,
that is not what they're born to. Like, my kids don't know. There would be a Hispanic boy talking Spanish and they're like, let's kick a soccer ball. I don't need to understand you. They don't even know the difference between black, white, Hispanic. Like, they're all kids that play. That's their universal language. That's taught. And if we don't change that as the church, as Christians, as people that love God, who is?
Yeah.
I mean.
Absolutely. The second thing you said, though, I want to make sure I highlight, like you talked about you've been racially profiled and the thing, though, but we got to also acknowledge, I think, and tell me, and again, I may get whatever, everybody's scared of these topics because you get blasted if you say the wrong thing, and I don't want to say that, I hope this is a safe environment, but I don't think it's just one-sided. I think racism goes both sides too. Don't you agree?
Oh, definitely.
Absolutely.
I know a lot of black folks that don't like white folks.
Or black people that don't like black people.
Yeah. It's race. Hate is hate.
Hate is hate.
You got just as much black on black crime than you got. Look at gang violence. You got so many things, but you can come from different aspects of it.
So I would imagine that in the white community, I'm sure you've probably been married to a white girl. It's like, whatever. But does your wife experience that from the black community?
Absolutely. You get it from both sides. It's like Pastor Daniel just said, hate is hate. It's inherent. you see it from both sides, whether it be white side or black side. But just as Jim was saying, my kids, they play with anybody and everybody. It makes no difference what race they are. Their lenses aren't formed to see color. They're not.
See, I don't know, like, what we can do. This is why I want to have this conversation. I don't know what we can do, but I do know this: we're better than this.
Yes, we are.
And we have got to move past whatever is happening, and we've got to get smarter than the media. They need targets to burn, so they got something to cover, and they would never admit that, but you guys know it. We all know it,
Yeah.
regardless of where you're. And I sometimes feel like they're playing us like puppets on a string.
They are. They are.
And they're playing with our emotions, and they're creating this dynamic, and I just don't think it's productive. And so I wanted us to, like, I don't know how many would watch this. I don't know what our audience is, but I want to use our stage and our platform to say, and our influence in this community to say, we are better than this. Listen, what have we got to do to move past this? And I personally believe that the only hope, I don't think it could fit better. This is in response to Pentecost Sunday. It was the sermon I just preached. And Pentecost was the birthday of the church.
Yes.
And Jesus made a comment, he said, or a promise. He said, I will in the future build my church, and the gates of hell will not prevail against it, will not overcome it. I personally don't think we're going to fix this outside of Jesus Christ.
You got that right.
Absolutely.
And I think as long as we try to solve the problem with man-made philosophies and sitting down and reasoning and trying to help you to understand and trying to help, I think the heart, and honestly, and I don't know how you're going to respond to this, anybody, I'm all about judge lest I be judged. So I'm honestly, like, don't know why this officer would do what he did to George Floyd. I don't know that I'm like 100% sure that he's a racist or this, that, and the other. Like, but I know this, something's wrong in his heart, and Jesus is going to have to fix his heart. I know that. I know you can't do that without something being broke somewhere inside. And I know that the heart of the issue is the heart, and that's the bottom line.
Absolutely.
And that's what a lot of things, because even every person, the Bible says the foul things come out of the heart.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of us got evil in our heart, but it's up to us to either give it over to God and let Him fix it, or do what your heart says do, or your emotions. And that's what a lot of people are doing. We're driving on our emotions. We're letting our emotions run our actions.
Which goes back to like the rioting and looting these places. The emotions, that is not the proper way to handle this situation. Proper way to handle this situation, you get the people together, get their minds focused, and go about it the right way. Not going to tear up someone else's property, burn it down. And in your own community. That's the sad part.
But
Somebody lost a job.
yeah,
That's right.
A single mom needed that job to pay her rent, and they just burnt the store down.
Absolutely.
But but no matter what, people has to understand this right here. You do hate what hurt people hurts people.
Hurt people, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what you got to understand, that we understand as a black community, we're hurt. This hurt us. It wounded us. I don't care where you're from. I don't care if you're from. It wounded us. And my thing is, I wanna make a challenge today. This is my challenge. Just like you, Pastor Dale, sitting down. Hey, tell me how you feel about this as a black person. Tell me how you feel about this, because that says that you care. And when you do that, that lets us know that you care about how I feel, rather than getting on Facebook and saying, or liking something that's not whatever. That means sometimes you can speak volumes just by liking a post or sharing a post that ain't good. You see what I'm saying? And so I want to challenge people today that, hey, call one of your black friends or other minority friends up and say, how did this make you feel? And that's how you have to deal with the issue. That's the only way to deal with the issue, is to talk about it.
And I think a great thing in that conversation, if you pick up Pastor Daniel's challenge, I agree with him, but by all means, I think one of the questions, and I've asked this here at this table with you guys privately, and I'll do it, what's got to happen to move past? Because see, the bottom line is, I personally believe, this is one reason I say, and I know when I say that Jesus is the only answer, I know sometimes people think, well, he's a preacher, that's a Sunday school answer, he's so naive, he's so simple. All right, that may be true, but like Jesus said, we're going to have to forgive. Like, I don't know how we're going to, like, I am so sorry. There's no argument at all from me that there's injustice. I think if I should be able to carry a gun openly, you should as well. I'm with you. I think whatever civil liberties I have, you should have. I get it. I totally understand. I mean, I'm sorry that happened. I don't know how I respond. And at some point, we've got to forgive and let's work together to create a better future for our kids. And so I honestly don't know how we're going to do that as long as someone's trying to exact justice and payment for past things that happen.
Yeah, because let's be real, and this is, and Ashley, you can jump on this a little bit, but it goes farther than 2020. It goes way back in slavery days. It goes way back then because you got to understand, and get this, and I was listening to Justin Duplantis one time. He did a post, and he talked about blacks. He talked about how that black women were raped and they were beat and they were abused and they were this. And he said they would still had enough power to still tell the Lord, thank you for what he's done for them.
Oh, man.
And people don't understand that even we have to deal with what we deal with, and we still have to, the same God you serve, and you go through things different, I still have to thank him where you had to thank him in a different way. I got to thank you for letting me live another day. What are you thanking for the food that he put on your table?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So people don't understand that aspect of it and thinking like, oh, and just like, okay, whatever. No, this is a lifestyle. And that's why people say why blacks be so loud in church. We're so passionate because that's how we express thank you. And that's why I said somebody tell Lord thank you right now. That's why we're loud. That's why we run.
I've known you a long time, and I've known him. You ain't as loud as him.
He's a little quiet over here.
But it tells. So people don't understand. That's why people are express a lot more. Black express a lot more because we got a lot to thank him for.
Right.
Yeah, no.
And I think, we could go on and on all day about literally all day about this. And like you said, what's going to change? What do we need to do to change? And I think, one, as the church, as Christians, we need to be united together. Like, if everyone at my table looks the same as me, I'm not changing anything.
Woo, say it again.
You know what I mean? I'm just not. So get out of your comfort zone, and I think this church is the best place for that. You don't look around and see all white people in this row, in that row. There is Hispanic, there is black, there is white, light skin, dark skin, it's everybody. And I love that about this church. And I think that's what we need to do as a country is come together, forget the media, forget the government, and just lean on God.
And I hope it gets more and more diverse because that's I really believe, the bottom line is, here's the thing, when you become a Christian, Paul said it, your first identity is a African American man in you're 24 now, 25. And you're white boy. That's from.
And I'm 16.
And you're 16. No, we got these first identities, but when you become a Christ, you become a new creation. And whoever you were is now secondary to who you are.
Yeah,
and here's the thing: I am a Christian. I am a Christ follower. So what does that mean? That means I have grace. That means I have mercy. That means I forgive the wrongs that were done to me. And it means that I work to build, I'm about to preach, His church. And the gates of hell will not prevail against it. And I think that's the only solution. I know, I really keep saying that. I don't think we're going to get there. I don't think the hope of America will ever arrive on Air Force One.
No, it's not.
It'll never arrive on an airplane from Washington. It's going to be when the people of God step up and say, I'm done with this nonsense.
Absolutely.
And I'm sorry for the injustice of the past. And I'm genuinely, as a white man, let me say, I am sorry for anything that I personally have done or my race has done. Now, let's pick up from here and let's build a new future. And I think the church, if it can't get in the church, if it can't get multicolored in the church, I don't know where it's going to happen.
And my thing is, if you want a piece of heaven down here, why don't we all come together? Because that's what heaven's going to be like.
That's right.
You're going to have everybody from all creed, everybody's going to be crying, holy, holy, blessed be the name of the Lord. But so why not get that down here and get together? It is so hard. Let me say this, and it is so hard they said the most segregated day is on Sundays. You got black people go to black church, but the thing about it is, and we won't even take down the barrier to come together and to worship together.
That's right.
You want to preach us out of here?
Man,
He
I
ready.
think he just did.
He's done.
that's it. Drop
Mic drop. Go. Okay, guys, so today was a little different, and we thank you so much for watching. We hope that, you know, everything that we said came across genuine as we are. And we are praying for the family of George Floyd and our nation and our country. And we hope that you like, subscribe, and share, and comment below, and let us know how you feel about the situation. And join us next week. And thank you guys so much for sharing with us today.
Thank you.
We'll see you later.